Hi everybody, welcome. My name is Trey, and I'm very passionate about tabletops, and I'm learning to be a better GM, better player, and a better person, and I want to share some of the cool stuff with you that I have learned. Today I want to talk to you about playing an abrasive PC. Someone who is rude, someone who's got a chip on their shoulder, like someone who would very easily be called an asshole. Now, if you are someone who values a more fellowship kind of fun and to understand more about what that is, I have a video about 8 different kinds of fun that people can have at the table, and people are usually a mix of several. I'll link that video down below if you want to check it out. But if you are a fellowship, if that's one of your higher priorities where the dynamic you have with the other players is the paramount thing to allow you to enjoy a game, I strongly recommend against playing this kind of character. You will not enjoy it. However, if you are more of a narrative fun seeker or an expression fun seeker, this may be of interest to you because you can build a lot of uniqueness into it, and you can also have like a really cool like redemption arc, or you can have a story where they sort of learn to love their friend. Like there's a lot of things you could do if you start from a place of like being a dick, but it is something that requires a lot of intention and a lot of communication to do it well. So let's go through a couple things, a couple of specific things that you should do. Keep in mind when you're playing an abrasive character. Number 1, get consent. This is the most important piece, and without this, you should not move forward. Session 0, safety rules, check-ins with the other players and the GM before the start of play. Whatever your group is doing, make sure that you're very, very clear that your character is going to be a jerk. Like, over-communicate about it. If people at the table are not on board, this is kind of a recipe for disaster, and I would recommend not playing this kind of character. We're going to continue the rest of the video assuming that people said it was no problem and that you got consent and that everyone's on board. So, number 2, be skillful. You don't have to min-max your character, but you should be competent at something the party needs. Healing, or stealth, or being the tank, something that in moments of your character being a real jerk, the party can point to and say, there, that's why we keep them around. Because, like, that's always the question, right? Even with, like, pleasant characters, like, why are you with this group and why would they keep you around? It's challenging enough for non-assholes. It's extra challenging if you are playing someone unlikable. Number 3, 90-10 NPC-PC ratio. If you are playing a dismissive, rude character, turn it on NPCs primarily. That way you can still be an asshole in game, you can still be, like, the world will still react to you as, like, an unlikable character, but you're doing it without accidentally hurting your players, like your fellow players' feelings. You can be a jerk to players in your party too, but it should never be the majority of your play. It should be a significant minority. Like, if you have 10 interactions, like social interactions in a game, 1, maybe 2 should be contentious with the player. Everything else should be with the NPC. When someone points out that your character is a dick, the example story should be, yeah, did you see how they talked to the bartender? Not, yeah, they're constantly undermining the party. I guarantee you, even with consent, people's feelings can get hurt and resentment can build. So be really careful about this ratio. Number 4, differentiate you, the player, from your character. Acknowledge to the party especially after a particularly confrontational scene, that your character is a dick. Joking above the table, after the game, whatever, cut that tension by separating your character's actions from yours. Yeah, my character's a dick, but like, I'm with you guys. What a dick, right? But like, it can be super tempting to want to justify or defend your character's actions because they are your character and you've made choices in playing them. They're your baby. But don't. You need to separate yourselves and let your friends know that it is not okay to behave like this. The second you start defending your character's bad behavior, that changes the entire tone of the game, and you are going to piss off more people than you probably even realize. Nobody is going to want to play with you because now it's no longer about character RP, it's about player behavior. So that's basically it, short and sweet, but I've had a really bad time at tables where this contention was done badly, but I've had really memorable experiences by players doing it well, and by being intentional about it myself. I've had a lot of fun with that internal conflict, both on the giving and the receiving end. You don't have to be a dick all the time either. You can just disagree on some things, and that kind of internal conflict can be fun and lead to some great roleplay and party connection. But everyone needs to be on the same page. And you need to take steps to reduce the emotional bleed that can come from disagreements in the game. Emotional bleed is something that I want to talk about with greater depth at a later stage. But basically, it's the feelings that a character is having get transferred to the player themselves. So you feel anger and saddened as a character. You as a player feel those emotions in a very real way. That is a high emotional bleed, and that's something you want to avoid. Anyway, that's all I have. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you'll come see me again soon. Bye.